Okay, welcome. I'm really happy to be here and to spend this time with you guys. I will try to give you a crash course in 45 minutes about agentic AI. This is a huge topic, but I will just give you the ideas and how this works, and so that you understand in what area we are at the moment, right? So agentic AI. Um, let's just start with our first slide. So the normal way we are working with AI is like we're going to ChatGPT, we ask it the question, and then ChatGPT or Gemini is giving us an answer. And then you take that answer and you do the work, right? So for example, let's do it, right? So we write a Facebook post. So the AI will do the Facebook post for me, and then I do the work with the Facebook post. I will go to Facebook, I post it there, I do all this kind of stuff. I tweak it, I tell it what to change and all this stuff. So that's the way we are normally using our chats at the moment, right? So we ask a question, the AI gives us an answer, and then we do the work. Agentic AI is different. So you don't ask a question, you give AI a goal or a task, and AI does the work for you. So it decides what it needs, it decides what tools it needs, it decides which way it goes to successfully do the goal and reach the goal. And then it will come back to you and say, okay, goal is reached, here's the result, we are done. So that's the difference between normal AI chatting and agentic AI. And so in agentic AI, it's also that the AI is deciding, do I need more agents? We call them agents. So that's actually just the AI is giving tasks to other AIs, so that you have like 5 or 10 or 20 or 100 or whatever the AI needs on AIs to do all the different tasks simultaneously. So it would just give the work to different things. So it works faster and it works together. So that's actually a short, brief description of agentic AI. So what do we need when we want to do a good, for example, let's say we want to do a Facebook post for our church, okay, a good Facebook post for a church. So what we need is we need a good prompt. If we just do it the old way, we need a good prompt to get a good result, right? So for a good prompt, we have five areas we have to give it, right? So first we give the AI a role. So we for example, tell the AI, hey, you are an experienced social media manager, okay? And then we need to give the AI context. So we say, okay, we are a small church, we are a big church, we are reaching young people, we are reaching families, or whatever. So you give it context, you tell him who you are or who you write this for, the persona you want to reach. You give it all the information so that the AI knows, okay, I'm a Facebook writer and I need to write for this specific group of people, right? And then you give it the task. So you say, okay, I want to have a Facebook post, I want to have an Instagram post, I want to have maybe a small group paper or whatever. So you give it a task. What does the AI has to do for you? And when you have given him the task, then you also need to explain him, okay, I want to have this exactly look like this. I need to define the format of what the result should look like. So for example, for Facebook, I want to have 220 letters, or I want to have 30 words, and I want to have 2 hashtags, and I want to have this and this and this in that. So you really have to tell the AI how it should look like at the end. And then if you need, that's not a must, but it's good to give it also limits and rules. Right? So don't talk too churchy, or use a warm, inviting tone. Yeah, no church jargon. English only or Tagalog only or whatever you want him to say. You are not allowed to do this and this, so you can give it also to the prompt. So these are the 5 parts of a good prompt. If you fill out all these 5 parts of a prompt, it will be very long, but you will get a very good result, right? That's the normal way we would do it. So if we do this, we have a very, very long prompt that we have to put into our chatbot every time to get a good result. With Agentic AI, we will do all these things automatically. So we write it once, and we write a workflow for it. For example, so this would be a typical workflow we could do. So we have a transcript or a YouTube video from Sunday. So we give this YouTube video or the transcript to our agent, okay? And so here is the transcript. This is the foundation for everything that follows. And we already have defined the steps what the agent will do in the next phases, right? So we give it to the agent. The agent reads the transcript. It takes out the Bible verses. It takes out the main points of the sermon. It creates a short summary for us. And then it gives it to our social media agent. And this social media agent turns the main points and the takeaways and the Bible verses and puts it together so that we have a good and ready to publish post with a hook, a caption, a call to action, hashtags, everything we have already in that social media post. Then it goes on and creates the image for our social media page. So we don't have to do it by our own. So the agentic workflow is just creating also the image for our social media post already, puts the logo there, puts text on the image, and makes an image that fits to the sermon, and we have a ready-to-go image for a social media post. And then it also creates us a PDF for our small groups with 5 questions as conversation starters, so we can send this out, or the agent can send this out to our small group leaders, and they get a handout, and they can just start their small group and have everything. So the only thing we have to do in this workflow is we put the transcript into our chat window. And the rest is already designed and ready to do it, right? So the agent already knows what I have to do, and it will just go through all the steps and create everything for you. So this is only good if you have tasks that you always do again. So for a single task that you only do once, this is useless. So this is really for tasks that you do every week or every month or every day, right? That repeats always. So it's worth to put the work into it, because to set up an agentic workflow, that takes a little bit of work in the beginning, right? So until we get the right result out there. Okay, so let's just go quickly back here so that we understood everything, right? So before we asked a question, we got an answer, and we did the work. In agentic workflow, we give the AI a goal, the AI does the work, and we just get the result, and we are done. We don't have to do anything anymore. Okay, we have a good prompt. We need a role, a context, a task, a format, a constraint, yeah, and a workflow is we define the workflow. We put an agent there who is doing all the work for us. So how does this work? I will show you first a very simple way to use AI agents, and then we will go to the a little bit deeper and the bigger way to do it, and a little bit more complicated way of it. So we start with Gemini. Why do I use Gemini? Because you can do the same thing also in ChatGPT, but you need to pay for it in ChatGPT. So it's called here GPTs, and you can create GPTs here. And in Gemini, it's called gems. So you can create gems here. What we are going to do is we create now a gem and learn how to start using agentic AI. Okay, before we jump into gems, let me show you one thing first. Okay, so when I ask Gemini, what is my favorite color? Okay, so we'll see. It will answer. Okay, I didn't. It's still there. So you told me before that your favorite color is pink. So what did Gemini do? It went through all my chats here with it, right? And was looking, did Martin mention somewhere his favorite color? I did this. I know that I mentioned my favorite color in another training. So it found, okay, Martin's favorite color is pink. So, but my favorite color is not pink. It's just because I wrote it there. When I say now, my favorite color is blue, then the AI will, okay, now it's blue. And if I ask again, what is my favorite color? It will answer me now, it's blue, right? So why does it answer me now blue? Because the last entry of favorite color that I have written is that my favorite color is blue. Okay, so it will always look the latest thing what you wrote, it will remember. That's only in Gemini like this, okay? So ChatGPT is not doing it like this. And also Claude from Anthropic has a totally different approach to memory, okay? But here in Gemini, it is like this. So when I open a new window, a new chat, and I ask it here, what is my favorite color? It's my favorite color. It will answer me, my favorite color is blue, because that's the last thing I said. Now, let's see if it understands. So, but before I said my favorite color is pink. So what is now my favorite color? Okay, so we just confused the AI a little bit. Okay, so it says, okay, you just said that the right color is blue. Why do I do this? Okay, so when I tell Gemini, write me a social media post for Sunday service to invite people. Okay, so if I send this off, it will just create me a invitation, right? A very generic invitation. Yeah, it put me some placeholders here, so I can put in a time, a location, a link. But it's a very, very generic Facebook post. Okay, so when I want to have this more accurate, I can tell him, okay, my church, or the name of the church is Grace Church, and we meet at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please write me a invitation for Sunday service. Okay, so what happens now? I gave it a little bit of context. Yeah, so now it says, okay, on Sundays at 10 a.m. you are invited to Grace Church. Okay, so it has now some information that it can use for writing my post. So the problem is now when I do a new window, a new chat, and say, write me the invitation for Sunday service. It will give me a generic invitation again, right? So it doesn't look up what is the church in the prompts. So I have to give it now all the information again and again and again. All the times when I write a new invitation, I have to give Gemini all the informations about my church so that I get a good result. So I have to go through all these steps here, where they are here. I have to give the role, the context, the task, the format, and the constraints. So I have to put this all here in the chat so that Gemini has all the information to write me a good prompt. And that's like a lot of work, and we can do that better. For this case, we have gems. Okay, so let's jump to gems. And we scroll a little bit down. We don't look at these up here now. These are in testing mode. They are a little bit buggy. We will show you this in another session sometime. We go down here to the gem manager, and we can click here on creating a new gem. Okay, so I click on this. So first thing I have is I can give a name. Okay, so let's call this webinar social media writer. Okay, so this is the name of my gem. So you put just a name there. It doesn't do anything. It's just a name, so you find that gem again. Okay, you can write whatever. So the description is also doing nothing. It's just the subtitle under the name. So when you open a window, it will just write what is in the description. Okay, so for example, we can say here, give me or send, what do you want? That's what do you want? Question mark. Okay, so you see on the right side here, right? This is the preview. So when we use this gem, it will say webinar social media writer, what do you want? And then I can type my stuff here. Okay, so if I write here now, let's try this in the demo. I just save this quickly. Just try this. We write here, write me a not yet. Write me a social media post for Sunday service. So it will create a very generic answer because it doesn't have any information yet. So how do we get this information in here now? This is the instructions we have to give it. So if I write here, name of the church, Grace Church, right? And then I say location is the Raffles building in Manila or in Pasig. And then I say service time 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and kids ages, kids church age, let's say 4 to 12. And I update my gem quickly. And now I tell him, okay, write me a, oh wait, we can copy this just from here so it's faster. Write me a social media post for Sunday service. And I send this off. You will see now we have here when Sunday 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. where Raffles building Pasig, Grace kids have fun, kids for age 4 to 12. So all the information I put here, he will put it here, right? So he gives me like a 2. So what does this mean? So I can just put all the informations I want for the social media post in here. So what are the informations we need, right? I prepared some files for that, so I don't have to write everything. Let's start with the, so for example, my church context, okay? So my church context, I just delete this here and overwrite it. So I have here is, we don't need this. Church name, Grace City Church, church service 10 to 12, location in Metro Manila, size around 250 people. Why do I put the size here? So that the AI knows it needs context to give me better social media posts, okay? So who comes? Mostly families and working professionals in their 20s and 40s, and so on and so on. So I give a lot of context here, so the social media post will be better at the end. So what else do I want to have in here? I want the AI to know how I write social, or how I want him to write social media posts. So that's why I have a social media guide. Okay, so I put this here also. You can write here as many as you want to. So let's see what is this, right? So I give it a concrete. So here is the social media guide. Let's put this here. So we have a purpose, right? So reach everyday people in Manila, especially young families and working professionals. And then Instagram visual first, reels, carousel, story invites, primary channel, Facebook events, longer captions, community updates. So I give him information for what do we use these channels and how often we are posting on these channels. And then I have a voice tone, warm, encouraging, real, talk to one person, not a crowd, short sentences. So I define how he should write my social media post, right? How it should sound. Then I give him how the caption should be structured. It should a hook first. There should be a body, a call to action, and the length should be shorter for Instagram and longer for Facebook. And then he should put some hashtags here, and then some emojis. And on brand colors, navy, coral, soft sand. This is actually not really needed now here because we are not creating any visuals in here. But of course, if we start creating visuals, we need the colors and the branding of our church. And then we have some constraints here, right? So hard week, you don't have to carry it alone. Sunday 10 a.m. So this is so that's the way he can write, right? But he should not write, join us this Lord's Day as we gather and worship and fellowship. So we don't want to have this churchy, over churchy sounding sentence in our post. So we say this is a don't. So as an example. So an AI learns from examples the best. Okay. So if you give examples, that's good for an AI to understand what you want him to do. So then this is just for, we don't need this here. Okay, so now we have all our rules for the social media post in here. And we can just update this, okay? And if we do now, let me see, where is this? Here, the same prompt again, just shoot it off here. Then you will see. So option 1, Instagram, and you see already it's short, punchy, and relatable. Okay, this is what we wrote here in our description here. We want to have short. Where is it? I saw this before. Where do we have it? Okay, but we told him, okay, we want to have it shorter and not as long. So he wrote us the Instagram post here, right? The caption, take breath, and so on. And we have all the information about kids program, Metro Manila, church. We have our hashtags here. And then he writes us the longer form Facebook post, right? So you can also add, like, we want to only have 220 letters for the Facebook post or whatever. You can just define it very detailed and it will just do how you define it. But you see, because we said we want to have one Instagram and Facebook post, it created us one Facebook and one Instagram post here, right? So if I save this now, it's already saved, and I want to use this, we can go to a new chat. We go to our gems, and then you see here is our webinar social media writer. I can just click on it, and it will open up a chat window with our webinar social media writer. What do you want, right? That's what we wrote there. We can say, okay, write me a social media post for Sunday service. And it will use all the informations we have put in there before, right? So this is the beauty of gems, because we can already save a lot of things in there, so we don't have to put it in our chat every time again, right? So we define already everything here in this gems. Okay, so this is a simple agentic AI here already. So if you do this, you're already doing agentic AI work, okay? So to create a complete workflow, we need to have a little bit different approach, but also very similar. But it's not in the Gemini website, but you need to do it on your computer. And I just want to give you an idea on how that works. We cannot go into the depth of it, but to show you how you can create a workflow so that you can start doing this, okay? For this, I need to change the screen that I'm sharing. So let's go here. We stop this one and we share screen. Screen one. Okay. How do I get this up? Okay, thank you. So we can make this a little bit smaller here. Okay, so I will use for this the Codex app. Okay, so Codex is actually a app from ChatGPT that does a little bit more than ChatGPT itself. Okay, it can handle AI agent workflows. So how this works is I have a project folder here on my left side. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger so you can read this better. Yeah. So I create a new project and I want to have it local on my computer using an existing folder. And we go here on the desktop and we create a new folder. We call it Webinar AI Agentic. Okay, and I just open this. So now everything we're doing, we are working in this folder on my computer, okay? So here's how this works. So if I ask it again, what is my favorite color? It will answer me, I don't know yet. You didn't tell me your favorite color, okay? So if I say, okay, my favorite color is blue, and ask it again, what's my favorite color? Of course, it knows now that my favorite color is blue, right? So, but if I start a new chat in my webinar AI agentic and ask, what is my favorite color? It will not know my favorite color because I haven't told him in that specific chat window, right? It's only working in this chat window here. So how do we work now with this? So when you do agentic workflows, you need to create a memory file. And every AI has their own specific memory file that it uses. ChatGPT uses agents. So I write it here in the, so you see it, agents.md. Okay, Gemini uses gemini.md, and Claude from Anthropic uses claude.md. All these three files are actually the same file, but just have a different name. So they work completely the same, okay? So if you know one, how this works, you can use them in whatever area you want to use them. So how do we create an agent MD file? You can use a text editor, or you just tell ChatGPT, create an agents.md file and save my favorite color blue in it, okay? So because these Codex softwares or these softwares from these have access to my computer, they are allowed to write a file on my computer. So you see now, he wrote a file on my computer. Let's see here on our folder. Here's the folder. You can see in our folder we have the agents.md. And if I open this up, let me zoom in so you can see it better. He wrote here, favorite color, blue. Okay. So if I now start a new chat and ask it, what is my favorite color? It knows that my favorite color is blue because I have written it here in this file. And ChatGPT will always read that file in the beginning of every conversation. Okay? So what can we do now with this? We can do a lot of fun stuff with it, right? So we can, for example, we can add our church content here, like before, like we did it in the gem. So we copy it, we go to our MD file here. I just delete this here, and I just add the context. And now it's too much zoomed in. The context of my church, right? So, okay, so here is my context of my church. So if I save this, ChatGPT knows now all the information about my church. So this is actually a nice thing. So I have everything in one file, but this file gets very long and very big, and and I want to have it differently. So I can just tell it, okay, check the context file church.md. Okay, so I save this and I go to my ChatGPT and say, write a file called church.md with the context of my church. And then I just give it the context. Okay, so it's thinking. I created church.md file in the workspace. Okay, and if we go to our folder, now we have the church.md file. Okay, so if I now ask him, we create a new chat so that we don't work here. So write me a social media post for an invitation for Sunday service. It actually should now, here it already tells you, I pull the church context, right? And you see now we have here 10 Metro Manila, somewhere should be probably Grace Church. Yeah, here, Grace City Church is here. So all the information we put there is here, okay? So what can we do now? We can actually do the same thing we did with the gem, okay? Let me add some files here so we don't have to create them all, okay? So I have a social media style guide. I have a small group handout. Wait, we need to rename it because it's text files. We need to have it. So let's stay in one type of. You can also use text, but I always use .md markdown files. And then we have a persona, so where we describe our goal group we want to reach. And then we have this already. And then I have a branding and style guide. So with all our colors and how to use the logo and all this kind of stuff. Let's just quickly look into this file so you can see. So let's open the branding file. I zoom a little bit in. So you see we have a primary color, accent color, secondary color, text. We have fonts. We have a way how to use the logo. We don't have a logo here yet. No? We have examples on what to do and what not to do, a description on how it should look, modern, warm, inviting, speaks like a good friend. So not like an institution, right? Down to earth, hopeful, never preachy colors. Okay. So that's our branding guide. So we gave it all the information about how we want. So the persona is just describing the person we want to reach with our church. If you want to learn how to do this, you need to attend one of our social media courses. There you can learn how to create this, or you create it with AI. So here it's just described what is the person we are reaching, right? It's a family, married, 2 kids. Family is the center of his world. His name is Mark Ryas, and he's 40 years old. He's a mid-level IT or operations job working, works long hours, and so on and so on. So here he is described the person we are trying to reach with our church. Okay, and then we have the social media style guide. We had this before. This is what we put in the gem already, where we have defined the social media stuff, and then we have a small group handout because I want to show you something with this later. And there we have defined, okay, we want to have a 1-page A4 PDF, plenty of white space, and so on. The structure and how it should be structured, 2 to 3 sentences, conversation, questions, 5 questions. So we have this all defined in this file. I don't want to spend too much time on what I have put in here, just to show you how this works, because we don't have so much time. Okay, so what you can do now is we can give it a task, right? So here is my task. So what's the task? Check the context file, church.md. Oh, no, that's wrong because we have it. Oh, no, let's do it differently. Okay. We have so branding guide is branding style guide.md. We tell him where the files are. We have a persona. This is persona.md. We have a small group handout guideline. What's the name of that file quickly? Yeah. This is this one. And then we have social media. I copy this is faster. Social media guide. And then we have a church context. It's church.md file. Okay, so guidelines, and then yeah. So what we can do now is we can just give it the task what he has to do. Let me quickly check something here because this is this one. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you. This is the actual agents MD file, what I want to use. This is created with AI, right? So how to run. When the user says something like, run the workflow, process the transcript, or that's German, verarbeite das Transkript, do all the following steps in order without stopping to ask questions in between. Plan first and execute, then report what you produce. So this is the way how our agent should run this workflow, okay? And then before writing, he should check all these files, okay? These are our branding files. And then as an input, he is getting a sermon transcript file, and then we define the steps he's doing. Okay, step 1, key points. Extract the core message, the key Bible verse, and 2 to 4 main takeaways. Write to output 01 key points MD. Okay, so that's is first step. Now, second step, write a social media post and put it in the outpost. Third step, image prompt. Write a detailed image generation prompt for the post visuals. We can also tell him here and create the image with image gen. So I will create the image. Okay, then create a PDF. So we want to have the small group, using the keyframes, and he should create the PDF at the end and then give us a summary at the end. Okay, so if we save this, and I would just copy this from here so the linking is correctly. It's actually the same thing we just put in there. Replace. Okay. So we have all the files here. So here in our context, there are all our files we created. And now when I go here and start a new thing, and let me open up the sermon. Here's my sermon. It's a short sermon. So we put it in here and I shoot it off. It should actually create us all the things we put in there. So, and make the handout PDF. So he's telling us I got the church voice and brand directions. He's pulling in all the guidelines, right? I'm using the image generation skill for the social visual and then PDF skill to handout export. While he is working, let him work. So he's just processing all this. That will take a few seconds because the image generation takes a while and the PDF. But you see how actually easy it is to create a workflow. And the nice thing is you don't have to do it. You just tell ChatGPT, I want to have this workflow step 1, 2, 3, or 4. Create me the agents.md file and the guidelines. You have to create the guidelines once, right? But if you have them in separate files, you can just copy them from one workflow to the other. You don't have to rewrite them always. And that way you can just create workflows that work. But this only works in the apps on the computer. So it doesn't work on the phone. It doesn't work in the web. It's just working on your computer. So with Gemini, you need the app Anti-Gravity. For ChatGPT, you need the app Codex. And for Claude, you need the Claude app. So we can see if he's already put something here in the output. Yeah, we have already some stuff here. Let's open this up. Oh, why are you putting this down here? So this is our key points. So here are the 4 key points of our sermon. Let me extend this. So Jesus invites tired, burdened people to come to him and receive real rest. We were never meant to prove our worth by producing more or carry the pressure of life alone. And then he has the 4 points. Rest is not laziness. It's a reminder that we are people, not machines. So that's a good thing, right? So we need rest. We need rest, but the AI can just work for us 24/7, right? So they don't need rest. Our worth is not tied to our output, our performance, or how much we can carry. Many of us are quietly trying to handle work, family, worry, and pressure alone. Jesus offers a different way. Come honestly, even tired, and let him help carry the weight. So let's see. It's still working. Yeah, this takes a while because it has to get an image and a PDF. So let's check the other output. Oh, here we go. So here is our image for Instagram, probably because of the format. Now he's building the PDF. So we have an Instagram image. So if you want to have text on the image, you have to tell this in your social media description here. So our social media post is here. Yeah, we have a social media post for this. When was the last time you actually rested? Okay, that also fits to our sermon, right? And then we have an image prompt here. So if you want to create the image again or try it again, see if the next picture is nicer, you can just use that image prompt here. And we have a summary and a handout. And see, there's a PDF folder already, and there is coming a PDF file now. Should be done in a second. Okay, it's putting the PNG in the PDF. So let's see. Should be done in a second. Here is the PDF is coming. Very good. So he's checking the handout. Okay, so can we open this already? Yeah, so here is our handout PDF. And we can send this out to our small group leaders, right? So he's putting everything together. So we have now an output folder here, and all the stuff is done here. So this is how a agentic workflow actually works. So this is really, I mean, I was really, really fast. I know it's a crash course, but I just wanted to give you an idea on how actually simple it is to create workflows like this, right? So just to repeat it quickly, you create your guidelines for the different things like social media guideline, small group handout guideline, the persona, you describe the persona, you give context about your church, you have a branding and style guideline, and then you have an agents file or a Gemini.md or Claude.md, that depends on what you're working with. But the agents MD file where you describe the step-by-step workflow and also link the files with the guidelines so that the AI can find all the information it needs to create the files and the workflow you want it to do. And this way, I just go there next Sunday when my pastor is preaching, take his sermon, put it in here, and I get all these things in 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm done, right? It's that simple. You can also use YouTube videos, and you can transcribe the YouTube video, so you don't need to transcribe it somewhere else. So you just describe what you want. And the nice thing with the app like Codex or Anti-Gravity is if you need something, it can just program it for you. So you can connect to your email, you can connect to your calendar, and you can get the information from there and can use this for these workflows. But this would be too much for today. So I think this is it for the agentic workflow, so that you have an idea on what's possible right now with these tools. Okay, I think we're good.
All right. Wow. Thank you, Martin.
So are
Good
you
job,
ready to
Martin.
create your own agentic workflow, Patrick?
You made it look so
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. Actually,
It is so simple.
yeah, it's very clear how you presented it, and definitely there are tasks in the church that we can benefit from, no, with
Yes,
agentic
yes.
AI. Yeah. So guys, for those who are watching, let us know how would you use agentic AI, no, in your church.
Oo, Kuya Pat, parang, di ba, sabi mo nga kanina, parang leveling up, di ba?
Mhm.
Leveling up yung ating, yung paggamit ng AI. It's all about being, efficient para mas maging effective tayo sa ating calling, sa ating mga task talaga na dapat gawin.
Yeah, ayun. So bago tayo magpatuloy pa no in our Q&A, like I said, we are going to have our question of the night, no? So we're going to post our question of the night, and the question is,
Ready
what
na,
are the
ready na.
parts of a good prompt? No? So earlier, Martin shared no those parts, no, yung limang part na yon, and if you want to win an AP Media merch, just type it in the chat, and we'll pick our winner for tonight. Ayan. So
Talaga.
and also, if you have a question for Martin regarding Agentic AI, you can share it sa ating chat and we'll ask him. Ayun.
Oo, kaya simulan na natin, 'di ba, yung ano, yung pagtatanong kay Martin while we still have him. Kasi
Yeah.
minsan lang ito. So Martin, you're using the only free version for you can do the agentic AI even though you're on a free like Gemini.
You can do it on a free Gemini, yes. You can use Codex also on the free plan. So you can actually create these workflows there.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's pretty
the
new
only
to me.
problem with the free versions is that the bigger your workflow is, the more tokens, the more usage it needs. So sometimes you hit your usage limits with the free plans then, right? So you have to be careful with that.
Okay.
Ayun. So there's one question no, from Sir Mark P. Ayan. So at what point should church consider paying for AI?
That's a nice question.
So this depends a little bit on what you want to do with AI. So they have this paid plans where you pay like $20 a month, and then you can use it. The other way is you pay like for the usage. That's called API. So you pay API costs. So it depends on how much you are using the AI. It depends on what kind of payment you use. And if you really want to use AI in your church, I would recommend to get a paid plan because of the limitations. Like for example, Gemini, ChatGPT, you cannot create GPTs, or there are other things you cannot do with the free plan. So if you really want to use it on a regular basis for generating like what I showed, right, then I would say you should consider a paid plan. Normally, the American providers like Gemini, ChatGPT, and Anthropic, they offer a non-profit discount, so you can go and look for it. But the Chinese doesn't do that. But the Chinese models are much cheaper, so you have to consider what is better for you, your church. Maybe a Chinese model because it's so much cheaper than an American model. But that's depending on your church.
So the Chinese models are much cheaper.
Yes.
Oh, so I see earlier it's like parang programming din, Martin, no? Like when you're giving guidelines to the AI, it's like you're
it's actually more like writing text, right?
And it doesn't have to be like in programming, the syntax doesn't have to be properly written or.
And actually, I wouldn't write the files by myself. I just would, for example, if I want to create a branding file, right? I would just put all the branding information from my church in the chat and tell ChatGPT, hey, write me a branding guideline for my workflow.
Okay.
Right? And then it writes you that file and you're done, right? So you can, and then you just read through it and see if everything fits, but you don't have to write it by yourself anymore, right? The AIs are so good, they can take most of the load from you.
Okay. Cool.
Sabi ni Sir Carl, Minimax has image generation, same workflow with Codex.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So Martin, for example, if we're going to use this in a church setting, of course, it's not just one person who will use it, but multiple people. There will be instances. So what would be your guidelines when it comes to using for example, one account as a group for using this agentic AI?
What would be my guideline?
Yeah,
I mean,
in security, or uh, just making sure that the data is handled properly.
yeah, you should. I mean, as a church, you should have some guidelines for AI work, right? So, for example, no personal data enters any online AIs, right? Like, for
Mm,
example, I never put in Patrick has counseling session and has this and this and this. I would never put this in AI because that doesn't has to go there. I mean, you have to have this kind of rules already set for your church,
so
so
just
that
yeah,
so that
sorry,
the
just
people know what.
of what you're saying. Uh, why should we not put personal data in AI?
Yeah, because this data, if you have a standard plan, these data will be used for training purposes for the models, right?
Okay.
And we don't want to have private data from our church people to be used as training data for models, right?
Mm.
So
So, but if they get a paid plan, is that something that they can avoid?
it depends. It depends on the company. In some companies, you can say don't use the chats for training the model. In others, you can't. It depends really on the company.
So you have to type in to the AI. Don't use my information. Cool.
So I would just generally say no private data in the chat,
Yeah.
right? You can anonymous the data, just write Mr. X having X problem or something, right? Help me. But I would never put names and data from people in there.
Cool. So yeah, Martin, di ba, we're all worried about over automation. So for you, bro, what are specific tasks that you think we should never delegate an AI to do, or yeah, no matter how good the technology gets, what do you think are tasks that we should never ask it to do for
So
us?
I would say never do any pastoral care stuff,
Oh.
counseling or pastoral care. That doesn't has to. That's not for AI. I had an interesting talk to someone, and we were talking about we could use AI to answer a question like, when is the next baptism in our church, right? And I mean that's legitimate, right? So we could do that. So the AI is just sending an email to that person, hey, next baptism is Sunday XY, right? So but then this person was saying, I don't want that because when my secretary is called by that person, she is asking that person, hey, how are you? Or maybe, how is your husband? Or how is your family situation at the moment? So we really have to think of what kind of work do we give to AI and what kind of work do we like to be in human work because of the relationship and the care for people, what makes us a church, right? So we really have to think of what kind of things do we give to AI. But for example, this workflows like this, like creating social media posts, that really takes off a lot of load of our volunteers. I think that's really useful, right?
Yeah.
And
Cool.
always check the output at the end, right? Never put the output right away onto social media or somewhere else. Always read it, always check it.
Yeah.
If there's Bible verses involved, always read the Bible verses in your Bible and check if it's the same Bible verse, because AI makes mistakes.
Yes, that's gonna be a problem, di ba, for many people. Like we trust it so much already that we think it will never create or make mistakes because of all the inputs we put in. But from time to time, you still see wrong information. It's now a skill that you have to really try to be patient with and really reading what it outputs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's really a good practice, no, to always review
Mm.
what the AI puts out. So, yeah, okay. So, Martin,
Mukhang
once
meron.
maraming salamat for sharing your knowledge on agentic AI. So, even for us,
Martin.
we're learning a lot, and you have given our viewers, something to try. Kaya guys, if you learn something, try this out. Let us know, sa Media and Minister Forum how you are using it, and definitely you can reach out to Martin if you have more questions.
Yes.
Sure,
Or
always.
schedule a masterclass with Martin with the
Yeah,
I
usage.
think the most important thing in AI is you need to try it. You need to
Yeah.
do it and try it out, right?
And to me, what with this lesson tonight, Martin, when you were already assigning like the guidelines, to me that was interesting already. So this is how you actually build like from scratch. From that you can ask the AI to output loads of content after that. And did you ask it to create video content already or not yet?
Yeah, I
Did
try.
it
I do that.
output?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's gonna be we'll run, we'll lose our jobs in the future. But
Maybe.
yeah, hopefully be able to utilize it while we still can.
Yeah. Yun. So going back to our question of the night,
Oh,
what 5
congrats,
parts of a
Fred.
good pump, and meron na tayong winner. Ang sumagot ng question of the night natin is si Sir Robert Elises.
Edites Junior. Oy, bagong bata.
Hey.
Role context task format
Congratulations.
constraints.
Tama ba yung spelling? Correct spelling? So, next task
Tama
format.
naman. So,
Congrats.
Robert, congratulations, bro. Just send us a message sa Asia Pacific Media PH Facebook page. Ayan, sabihin
Yun,
mo
no?
lang ikaw yung nanalo sa question of the night. And si Sir Johnson, ayan, kilala mo yun. Siya ang magpapadala ng APMedia merch para sa iyo.
Congrats. Congrats, sir.
Congrats.
Okay, so yeah, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nakatutok sa atin tonight. Martin, again, thank you, bro. So sa lahat ng mga co-volunteers, leaders, make sure to share this live stream. Link sa inyong mga church media group chat or itagay yung mga fellow volunteers para mapanood nila yung replay na ito. Importante ito sa atin, di ba? So learn to automate and use AI. Parang crash course in advanced AI usage, di ba?
Ayun. So with that, Martin, maraming salamat. And we'll see you
Thank you
again
very much.
sa sunod na ating webinar. And pagpatuloy natin ang conversation sa Media and Ministry Forum.
Yes.
Amen.
Ayan.
So, yeah.
So,
Okay.
paalam na tayo. Good night. Good night sa inyong lahat. And God bless po. God bless po. We'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye!